Pokemon Legends ZA was supposed to be a return to form, a follow-up to Legends Arceus that built on its ideas, refined its systems, and pushed the franchise into a new era. But instead, we got what feels like a step backward, a game that confuses scale with depth, action with engagement, and novelty with quality. Today, we're going to look at everything wrong with Pokemon Legends ZA. Not out of hate, but out of disappointment. A premium price for a diminished experience. Let's start with the basics, the pricing. $60 for Switch 1, $70 for Switch 2, and a $30 DLC announced before launch. That's $100 for what is essentially an open city experiment with less content than its predecessor. Announcing DLC before the release of the game should be considered a scam. You're basically buying 80% of the game and then they're charging you additional $30 for the other 20%. Pokemon has always been a premium IP, but this pricing model crosses into exploitative territory, especially for a game that fails to justify its cost in gameplay or depth. From region to city, a step back in scale. One of the defining appeals of Pokemon has always been exploration, discovering new regions, landscapes, and ecosystems. But in Legends ZA, we're confined to Lumiose City, a dense urban maze where almost every street looks the same, every rooftop feels copy-pasted, and almost no buildings are explorable. It's a city without life. The attempt to replace regional diversity with vertical exploration, running across identical rooftops, feels like a shortcut, not innovation. Combat that forgot what made Pokemon battles engaging. Battling has always been strategic, about managing moves, PP, and timing. But ZA replaces this with real-time action, cooldown-based abilities, and the removal of PP entirely. Now every Pokemon has 4 skills used spam in rotation, waiting for cooldowns to reset. There's no planning, no tension, no tactical rhythm. Even worse, players themselves have HP bars that can be tracked, turning battles into chaotic brawls instead of measured duels. Dodging feels awkward, breaking immersion rather than enhancing it. A catching system that removes all tension. Catching Pokemon was once thrilling, the risk of overkilling, the choice of which move to use, the suspense of the Pokeball shake. Here, none of that exists. You simply wear down the enemy's HP and capture it automatically. No thought, no finesse, just routine. The excitement of discovery is gone, replaced by a mechanical checklist. A hollow competitive system. The new AZ ranking is positioned as the endgame progression system, but it's nothing more than a grid. There are no gyms, no meaningful milestones, no sense of progression or triumph, just a linear, repetitive ladder that fails to replicate the satisfaction of earning badges or battling unique leaders. Visuals and presentation. Visually, Legends ZA feels unfinished. Flat textures, repetitive architecture, and uninspired color palettes make Lumiose City feel more like a tech demo than a living world. Arceus may have looked rough, but at least it had atmosphere and scale. Here, everything feels sterile, an empty city disguised as an open world. Pokemon behavior and animation. Pokemon following trainers during battle could have added personality. Instead, it looks awkward. They stumble around, fire off an attack, and then go back to wandering aimlessly. It breaks immersion instead of building it. For a series built on the bond between trainer and Pokemon, this feels strangely lifeless. Dialogue and writing. Pokemon games have never been narrative masterpieces, but ZA takes a notable step down. The dialogue is bland, characters lack personality, and interactions feel robotic. When even side NPCs in older games had more charm, you know something went wrong. Night and day cycles that add nothing. Wild zones during the day. Trainer battles at night. It sounds interesting, but it's just surface level variety. Instead of dynamic ecosystems or meaningful time-based events, we get a rigid schedule that only fragments gameplay. A regression, not a revolution. Ultimately, Pokemon Legends ZA feels like a game designed around limitations, rather than creativity. It copies Arceus' framework but strips away its soul, the sense of mystery, the discovery, and the lore. We've traded a vast living world for a lifeless city, and in doing so, Game Freak has added something that doesn't evolve the franchise, it dilutes it. Pokémon has always been about adventure, about stepping into the unknown and forming bonds through struggle and discovery. But Legends ZA loses sight of that. It's a reminder that bigger budgets and higher prices don't equal better games. We need to be more critical of Game Freak, Nintendo, the Pokémon Company, or whoever is making these games, because they're putting the bare minimum into their games and they're getting away with it. And as fans, we deserve better. Not just from Pokémon, but from a franchise that once defined what it meant to explore. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Peace.